What's up, y'all? V for victory. As many of you have heard by now, tonight, uh, well, actually last night, Daniel Bryan released a statement on Twitter saying that he was going to retire from professional wrestling today. And I just wanted to gather my thoughts on here for y'all, talk about his career, when I started following him, things like that. Been a fan of his for a long time. I would say 2005, maybe 2004. It's been a while. Maybe 2006, around there. Um, Growing up, I used to watch WWE and then ECW and stuff like that. And ECW really got me into I just did the AJ thing. No, but seriously, ECW got me into like the indies and stuff. And I remember, I'm not sure what WrestleMania it was, but there was one where that was here in Chicago, and Rey Mysterio won the championship in that one. So Eddie had just passed away, and I wasn't really. That time was difficult for me as a fan. I was a big Eddie fan, big Benoit fan, and they had both just passed away. And so yeah, WrestleMania came to Chicago. A bunch of my friends went, but I didn't have the money, or at least they thought I didn't have the money. Looking back at it, I probably did. But my thing has always been, if I'm going to go to a WrestleMania or a Wrestle Kingdom or anything of that sort, then I want to have good seats. I don't want to be in the cheap seats. Um, Although I'm sure being in the cheap seats was a great feeling or what have you. So anyway, instead of going to WrestleMania that year, I ended up going to Ring of Honor. I went to Supercard of Honor, the first one. Um, they had it here in Chicago during that weekend, and it was a fantastic show. I went to both nights. Um, Daniel Bryan, then known as Bryan Danielson, uh, I believe he was the world champion for them at this point, and he had one match against Roderick Strong uh, on the Friday, because I believe it was a Friday and a Saturday. And then the next day he had a match against Lance Storm. Now, I had heard of Bryan Danielson somewhat, but I had never seen him work. And that was really my first exposure to him, as well as to Ring of Honor. And as the years progressed, I followed Ring of Honor more closely. Through Ring of Honor, I heard about Pro Wrestling Noah. I started watching Pro Wrestling Noah, and then my fandom grew from there to watching other stuff instead of just WWE. Um, to this day, I still view Ring of Honor as sort of like a AAA, sort of like the minor leagues, if you will. Um, so yeah, I watched a lot of ROH. I watched a lot of, real quick. I grew up watching ECW's old DVD. I actually bought this like in middle school. I'm gonna get off track real quick. Here's Joe Bashi, actually signed by Samoa Joe. Great match. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. This is when I first got introduced to Pro Wrestling Noah and Japanese wrestling in general. Now, I was introduced to Japanese wrestling because of ECW, but they had a lot of FMW guys. I really didn't know much about Noah, so that was what introduced me to Pro Wrestling Noah. And then through that, I learned about All Japan Pro Wrestling, and then continually, I learned about New Japan, obviously. And then of course, I also have this, the best of Bryan Danielson DVD. Proud of this one. Like I said, I was a fan early on. They sell DVDs when you go to the live shows, and I knew that Daniel Bryan was something special even back then. So I picked this up. We'll probably be putting it on eBay for a lot of money one day. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I think it still goes for like $40 right now. Like, it doesn't go for much. But here's to hoping that hopefully it gathers some momentum and I can sell it for a lot. So yeah, I've been a Bryan Danielson fan for a while. Daniel Bryan, if you will. I even have Night of Appreciation, which is one of the early Ring of Honor shows. I have that because Eddie Guerrero was on that card. So yeah, I followed Daniel Bryan since then, and I continued to go to ROH shows. I just started talking about wrestling in general. I forgot that this was about Daniel Bryan. Um, so yeah, I continued to go to ROH shows. I actually had a couple cool moments with the guy. I remember they had this one spot where this old lady was talking shit to him because Daniel Bryan was heel in Ring of Honor. He was a bad guy. And he tells the old woman, maybe lose some weight, then maybe I'll care. It was just got us all, we all had a good laugh about it, whatever. We know it's stage, it's just an act. I knew she was probably a plant, no big deal. But what I didn't know, what I found out at WrestleMania 30 was that that was his mom, so that like really caught me off guard. And that's beautiful that they were working as a family, you know what I mean? That like Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, he had this dream, and his mother and I believe the father was there that night as well, supported him to the point where they would come to the shows and they would be a part of the act. It was beautiful stuff. Corny as fuck, but beautiful in a weird way. Um, then also I took my little brother and my little cousin. Uh, this is when they were still really young. They're not really into wrestling like that anymore, but back then they were really into it because when you're younger, you're into it. I myself, I go in and out. Sometimes I'm into it, sometimes I'm not. Right now, I'm in a into it phase because of the network. $10 a month. Who the hell can pass that up? So I've been a fan for a while now. I think maybe like 2 to 3 years. I've been pretty big on it. But I do see myself. Like I think this may be the last Raw I watch. But anyway, yeah, I took my little cousin and my little brother out. And Daniel Bryan was wrestling. We had a fun time, nice family moment or whatever. And Daniel Bryan was wrestling Colt Cabana that night, and I believe they went about an hour or so. And Daniel Bryan actually jumped over the third rope and landed right in front of us. So that's definitely a moment that we all cherish with us. And of course, he signed to WWE, and I showed my little brother the NXT stuff, and my little cousin was into it as well. And we watched them grow, until WrestleMania 30, which was like the big blow off for my little cousin and my little brother, myself as well. It was like what's the word I'm searching for? It was the payoff, It was the payoff of being a fan for so long. He won the big one. Um, Great moment, and unfortunately he got injured. Um, it's something that happens in pro wrestling. It's a contact art or contact entertainment, or if you want to call it a sport, then it's a contact sport. So it's something that does happen. I am a little uneasy as to how I'm going to react. I've been a fan for quite some time, so I don't know how I'm going to feel when he gives us such his Shawn Michaels speech, his "I lost my smile" speech. Oh man, it's so money. All I know for sure is that the world is watching. Number one on Reddit right now. So everybody's really interested in this. Daniel Bryan's retiring today. When they first announced that he was hurt, I thought it was a work. I thought it was bullshit. I've been calling bullshit for like the last however long he's been out. I've been expecting him to come in the last two Royal Rumbles. So I didn't really buy it. So what I am planning on doing is I'm going to sit back, I'm going to relax, I'm going to watch Raw tonight, I'm going to watch the farewell speech. Like I said, I've been a fan of Daniel Bryan since ROH, since he used to show up here in Chicago and do shows for us with the rest of the roster. Amazing roster they had back then, by the way. It's a family thing. My older brother, my little brother, my younger cousin, my father, all fans of Daniel Bryan's work. All admired his work rate. The guy worked hard, and it's tough to see another sports hero, if you will, injured. An entertainer, whatever you want to call him. So I'll be watching it, and I'll make sure to come back with my thoughts. This is just a rant, so I'm sorry if it sounds not scripted, but that's because it's not.